Yes, indeed. We are back and we are live on KBS Extra on Aftermath FM. And today I'm joined by my wingman, Jimmy Jeans. How you doing, man?
Hold on, Matt.
You're muted up.
I know. I know. I know. I got too much going on here. I'm coming in hot on my Aftermath FM app, and you're sounding good, and you're looking better for the wear. And I'm good to be here. Thanks for having me, Kev. I mean, I appreciate it. It's really, Saturday afternoon's always a good time for me because I'm always up here straightening up around the studio. So good to be here,
Early
man.
Sunday morning here, dude. So, yeah.
Well, how's it going on an early Sunday morning over underneath the Data Dome over there in Glasgow, Scotland? Where
Every day's an adventure under the ones and zeros of Smart City Glasgow. Yes, indeed. You anywhere near a smart city?
Not really. I mean, their biggest thing is the last mile around here. So I mean, mostly everybody's got cable TV. And so they're getting their broadband over cable, so there's really no fiber anywhere. So AT&T and them, they've been running around trying to get fiber in for a long time. So, not really, not yet. But I mean, everything's doable with these devices, that we have at our house. As far as like, we have all these smart devices, TVs and refrigerators and Alexas and everything's
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be in it. Yeah, I mean, you don't need to live in a smart city to be in a smart city, right? It's just a name. In the end of the day, all the infrastructure is going into every city anyway.
Well, have they instituted any of these passport situations over where you are in Scotland? I mean,
we've got vaccine passports, yeah.
So now is this something that's just on people's phones, or I mean, you go to a restaurant and you have to show how you do? You show your phone?
My son, he goes to the football.
Yeah.
So it's a QR code type thing that you have to show, but to be fair, it's not policed that rigorously.
Yeah, at this
point.
point.
Where you are, have you got them over there?
No, nothing here yet. But they're doing their best. They're trying as hard as they can. They would really want to get this going here. But I mean, so far, what I'm seeing here, at least in my part of California where I live, is mostly everybody's tired of this, and nobody even cares anymore. It's like you're supposed to wear a mask when you go in, but I mean, if you don't wear one, it's not like it was before, where people are saying something to you. So nobody really cares anymore. They're not like militant about it like they were. So I don't know, man. I think overall, everybody's been whipped into submission at this point. to say, man, they're like that guy in that movie Network. If I'll buy your tires and your toasters, just leave me alone. Just leave me in my house.
Yeah, I reckon we'll probably get Christmas out of the way, and then they're going to lock us down again here.
I think so too.
Wild, yeah.
I agree with you, and I think the main reason is because they wanted you to go out and spend your money on Christmas presents first.
Yeah, 2 Christmases on the trot, not seeing people would not have been good, and not spending money.
Exactly. I think the money thing is mostly what's gonna really. They make their money this time of year for the whole year. The rest of the time, these big retail conglomerates, these giant behemoths that takes all this billions of dollars every year to run.
It's funny we start on this because obviously we're not far away from 2022 now.
Right.
And I was going to ask you for some of your predictions, and I'd written down here some kind of digital ID to roll in vaccine records, vaccine passports, driver's records, banking, and probably some kind of virtual avatar tied to it for the metaverse. But what say you, bro?
As far as predictions?
Well, that one, and then give us one of your own, yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I mean, it's not exact. I didn't go full Nostradamus. It wasn't like...
You weren't Nostradamus. Your nostrils weren't flaring.
Oh.
You didn't go Nostradamus. I could go Nostradamus. I just have this intense feeling that, banking as we're used to it is about to go away. I really think that there isn't any reason to have competing banks, this bank or that bank anymore. I mean, really, because there isn't anything they're doing for you to get you to come in there. There isn't a reason to distinguish one bank from another, except for maybe they won't charge you for this or they won't charge you for that. But I mean, overall, there's really no difference between any of these banks. It's just a different face on it. Wells Fargo, Bank of America. Cash is out, you know. Cash is out. And digital currency is in. And when that happens, there's no ATMs. There's no reason for an ATM. You don't need to go there for any reason. Everything you do, you're going to do with your phone, just like you do now. And most young people are already doing everything with their phone. You know what I mean? So it's not a matter of whether or not we're going to agree with it. It'll be like here in Santa Cruz, for example, we get a lot of tourists that come in here, and if you own a store and people come in your store and they use credit cards in there, you got to pay to get that money from the credit card company, and you got to wait for it. So you don't get it right away, and you got to pay. So a lot of stores in Santa Cruz, they say cash only, man, because they don't want to have to pay. They don't want to have to pay that money. And just like they can require you in that store to only use cash, somebody could say, hey, you can only use your digital ID in here to buy stuff. And the thing is, with the advent of what's been going on and all these mom and pops shops have been closing down, they're not franchises, they're not corporate. These corporate raiders will just comply to whatever the government says. So if the government says, hey, we'd really appreciate it if you'd start moving over to this new digital currency. It's not worth anything when they started it. Fed coins were zero. But once you start spending it into existence and people start having faith in it, it's only a matter of time before that's the thing. And, they start making, when they were trying to pass that first stimulus bill, and they ran into this snafu because they said that they wanted to make all the payments through this stimulus on digital currency. Nancy Pelosi was trying to sneak it through, but she didn't get it in there. They threw that one thing out. But I thought it was interesting that it was in there, just because so it doesn't exist, and then we start paying you with it, with your food stamp card, and this type of thing, and we start paying you with it on your monthly stipend or your welfare payments and all this, and start spending it into existence. And then once there's faith in it, then it's just like the dollar. The only thing that makes the dollar worthy is because we got a military. No, it's because people have faith in it. But other than that, if you didn't have faith in it, man, it's out the door. Kev?
Yeah. No. Well, I hear you, dude. I hear you. I definitely feel the shift onto the digital currency coming.
So that's my prediction. Banks out. One bank. It's the Federal Reserve is the one bank, right? So they might as well let's just come to terms with it. It's not a part of the government. It is a business for profit, right? So let's just get rid of all the competition and let's Federal Reserve right there. And, there's the IRS right next door, and there's the Treasury over there. And, because they say they're going to track you for $600 movement of any kind of funds in your bank account from now on. That's starting January 1st.
Yeah, I remember we had Steve call into the show talking about that one time. We talked about the $600 been flagged up in the bank.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's all kicking in now.
Yeah, and the other thing is that... this thing called Basel III, which is every country has to disclose their derivative exposures. It's called Basel III, and that's about to come into effect too. So there's a bunch of intersecting financial issues that are looming in the not too distant future that don't look good for people that are into these investments, because the last thing they want to do is have to disclose their derivative exposure. So that puts us like in a precarious situation, just simply because at any time the herd can just decide to move in a direction, and you can see the tumbling of the stock market, and these types of things, the crashings of the economies. The thing that they've been threatening. What is it going to be that pushes it to the edge? I don't know, man. I just think digital currency and positive identification is the meal of the day in 2022.
You can guarantee that all of the stuff we've been going through for the past 2 years, it ain't going away.
No.
It ain't ever going away. Rolling lockdowns, probably a crisis here, a new wave there. And I tell you what, dude, there's something really, really creepy going on. Really creepy going on, like skin crawling creepy. You have Doc McCairn on your show. I was watching him the other day. I was looking at some stuff myself, but this whole going for the kids, we've already said, whoa, that crosses a line, right? But have you seen how they're getting them to like sing about these things in schools? And Christmas songs are being changed to talk about the vaccination and the jab. And dude, this is like, we were talking about cults with Ben Emlyn Jones the other day, right?
Yeah.
This is like some creepy ass death cult shit going on.
No, you're right, man. It is
something sinister about it, dude.
It's about as sinister as it can get. Seriously. I mean, and the superheroes and be a superhero. Come on down. Bring your son or daughter on down here, and we'll give you a candy cane. Take it with you. You know what I mean? No. It's too much, man. It's gotten far beyond anything even. I mean, because like we were talking about, they used to have this toy, okay, and you would, there were two glass balls and had a plastic ring in the middle and two strings, and the glass balls hung down, and the strings and the balls could smack against each other. They're called clackers, right? And you buy them, and you take them, and you hold that thing like this, and you go up and down with your hand, and you make the two glass balls smack on the bottom, and then they go up and smack themselves on the top, and then they go back down and smack themselves on the bottom. Well, a bunch of kids got killed, man. Just fucking hitting themselves in the face with those things. So it didn't take too many kids getting killed before they took those clackers, off the market. The point is what we've been having going on for all this time, and it doesn't seem like they're putting the brakes on anything. Seems like they're just, it's full steam ahead no matter what happens. If there's a body strewn everywhere, then they don't care. That's what it seems like. Because I mean, at the very least, there's enough evidence to suggest that they should put the brakes on it for a minute just to check it out before they start.
Big time, dude. Big time.
You know what I mean?
And of course, Australia, they've been right under the gun when it comes to all of this. But found a good funny clip we can take a listen to now, Jimmy.
Nice.
It's an honest government ad from our favourite, the Juice Media team.
Sweet.
Take a listen to this, folks.
Yeah,
this
man.
is brilliant.
Hello, I'm from the Australian government. The shit party.
And I'm from the Shit Light Party, your healthier choice of government.
Whatever your moles.
Sit down, you buffhead.
And together we form
The Two-Party System.
You might remember us from the last ad we made about preferential voting.
We hope you haven't watched it, because the last thing we want you to know is how to use it to vote for a not shit candidate at the coming election.
One who isn't owned by these guys and who'll fight for your kids' future rather than theirs.
Because if enough of you give your first preference vote to not shit candidates, some of them might win some seats and become not shit MPs.
And if that happens, this election will end up with a hung parliament.
A hung parliament is when you tell both major parties to get fucked by ensuring that neither of us wins the 76 seats required to form the next Australian government on our own.
A hung parliament sounds like a bad thing, and that's how we want you to think of it.
But a hung parliament can also sound like a good thing.
Oh my God.
Sorry, a hung parliament means that to form government, we'll be forced to negotiate with the not shit MPs you elected to the crossbench.
The crossbench is that group of seats at the bottom of the U that aren't held by either one of us.
It's where democracy happens.
Ew.
And in a well-hung parliament, a not shit crossbench holds what's called the balance of power.
Which means that in exchange for their support, those not shit MPs will want us to adopt their not shit policies, like an anti-corruption commission, which we don't want because we're corrupt as fuck.
A transition away from coal and gas this decade, which neither of us wants because we're both captured by fossil fuel interests.
And an emissions target in line with the science instead of our shit target.
Or our shit light target. And if one of us can come to an agreement with those not shit MPs, we'd form a minority government with them.
Again, a minority government sounds like a bad thing, like it's lacking something.
But with a hung parliament, it's not size that matters, it's how you use it. The last time we had a minority government, we passed world-leading climate legislation that cut pollution for the first time in our history and created agencies that funded shit tons of renewable energy generation.
But then we got re-elected and chucked that legislation in the bin. And ever since then, we've been conducting a scare campaign about minority governments.
But when you think about it, you already have a minority government, because the only reason the shit party here can govern is thanks to support from us, the really shit party. We call it the Coalition. Except instead of helping, it's what's made climate action impossible for the past decade with our really shit policies. And if the stooge who leads the shit party doesn't do what we say, we install a new one who will. Isn't that right, love?
Yes, ma'am. We'll open another coal mine right away.
The next election is your chance to turn the page on this shit-stained chapter of our history. Thank fuck most of you don't know how preferential voting works. Otherwise, not shit candidates would be getting way more of your votes.
Especially those running in shit party heartland seats, like this one in Kooyong, this one in Hume, in Wentworth, Goldstein, McKellar, and others where people are sick of our shit fuckery. Because since we currently hold government by only a slim margin,
and we have bugger all chance of winning enough seats to form government on our own.
That means if we lose just a few shit party seats to not shit candidates, we're headed for a hung parliament.
And if there's one thing that can fuck the two-party system, it's a well-hung parliament.
Authorised by the Department for shitting ourselves about all these independents.
There we go. There we go. Nothing says it quite like a honest government ad, Jimmy.
Get a rope. That's what I say. Get a rope.
Big thing.
I don't know, man. Seriously, the things going on around the world. I mean, in the past, if this was, things that are going on down in Australia were going on, people would be pointing fingers at it. The world would be coming in arms. You know, they'd be sending people down there to find out what the hell's going on. You know, I mean, they're pulling Aborigines or Aboriginal people out and jabbing them with it. They're just, tracing them down and chasing them, man. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be surprised if they were on horseback roping them and stuff and then just tying them up and sticking something in their arm. I mean, it's literally, it's the camps, the double-fenced enclosures, the videos. See that yellow line? You stay on that side. If you come on this side, well, then you're going to be in trouble. People, being put in into quarantine. Because they're like contact tracing you. You went to the grocery store, and there was an outbreak or whatever. And now all of a sudden in New York, there's all these measures. They're getting paranoid. There's all these cases and all this, and all of a sudden, if you go Trump Tower, you better have a mask and your vaccination certificate, otherwise you ain't coming in. Those are the rules over there for Trump's Tower. He's not letting you be free over in Trump Tower, is he? Yeah. But I guess, that's the way it is in the New York City. You want to be in New York City? Well, there you go. You got to have your little, key to the cities, I think they were calling it.
So where's the best state for you guys to go over there then?
I don't know. There's a bunch of people. There's a big movement. A lot of people that are freedom lovers. they're seeming to find their way out here, out west. There's, I think Idaho is a big destination right now. I think the prices of land in Idaho are going up through the roof, simply because people are moving in there. Not only that, but the places that are available to buy, there's less and less of them. So, I think Montana, South Dakota, North Dakota. I'm not sure about North Dakota, but South Dakota. Montana obviously is another one that people like a lot, simply because, there's a lot of space, very few people, and, they have, they like their guns. Guns are a necessary tool in your pickup truck in states like we're talking about here. Just simply because, you could get mauled by a wild animal at any given moment. It's no joke.
And Montana's always looked lovely, man. Colorado as well.
Oh man, Colorado's, yeah. Well, when I was in Colorado, it's like, and I was working early in the morning doing, on construction sites and stuff. Everybody's packing, man. Everybody's got guns, and everybody's got a gun in their truck, because you show up to work, man, and there's bears in the trash can. It's still dark, and somebody's threw their lunch out from the day before in the trash. You get there and there's a bunch of bears in there. It's terrifying, man. You gotta, people, like I say, everyone's got a piece. Everybody's got a gun. And I don't know, man, on some level, if everybody had a gun, I think people would be a lot more polite. Remember back in the old Western days, everybody spoke perfect English and they were very polite. It's because everybody had a gun hanging off their waist,
A very good point. Yeah.
I don't know, it's just something.
No chance of that in Scotland, that's for sure, dude.
Dude, I watched a video yesterday of some guy that was a friend of another guy, and he was visiting him. And there's videos. This is a closed circuit video. So this guy is visiting this dude. It's got closed circuit cameras of them hanging out together all day long. And then at the end of the day, the dude is seen running away from the guy's place, from the guy's house. And apparently he stabbed the guy and killed him. He was hanging out with him all day. They were laughing together, buddies and this and that. And then I guess apparently he had a knife, though. That's what I noticed about it, was that he didn't have a gun. He killed him with a knife. So, man, you really got to want to kill somebody if you pull out a knife and start stabbing them. A gun, it could accidentally go off, or you just you pull the trigger and it's over. But like a knife to kill somebody, you can just jam it in there and pull it out, stick it back in a bunch of times, on purpose. It's not accidental. You know what I mean?
The knife is the weapon of choice in Glasgow.
That's what I mean. That's why I was bringing it up, because you got, there's not a lot of guns hanging off hips, but there's knives everywhere, I'm sure. I'm sure it is knife haven over there. But you guys are used to swinging steel, swinging blades.
Yeah, I prefer it if it was the claymores as opposed to kitchen knives getting jabbed in people,
Yeah. Well,
sure.
It was interesting yesterday because we were getting ready to do a show last night, and I was doing some research, and I was looking into some of these giants, And I noticed there's a lot of pictures from the past. There's a lot of pictures from the past. Doc and Kevin going to join us, I think, here in a minute. He's going to put his stuff together. So I was looking at these videos, and I forgot that Skype message totally threw me off. What was I saying 2 seconds ago?
Giants.
Right. So I'm looking at, we're doing some thing about the past, and all of a sudden I see all these new pictures that I've never seen before of these really giant people. And what was interesting to me about it, one of the first thing I noticed about it was they were all independently taken from wherever they were taken. You know what I mean? It wasn't a whole group of people. It wasn't like a photography studio telling everybody to do the same thing. But the same thing was present in every one of the pictures, and that was the giant would have his arm hanging off to the side, hanging out straight. And you could see from his arm down to the top of the heads of where the people were standing, how much taller he was than everybody else. The reason I'm bringing it up is because I noticed that there's some stuff in Egypt that's exactly the same, where there's a giant figure with his arm out just like that, and then there's smaller people down below. And I just thought it was really quite interesting, man. Just simply because, I mean, you know, we looked at the giant books before, and we've taken a look at the giant doors, you know, and just wondering, there's so much more to our history, I think, than, we're even privy to. But
yeah, I'm very open to it. Very open to it. You know, talking with Nacy the other night about the Serpent Mound.
Mm-hmm.
Spoke to Jim Vieira and Hugh Newman before on the Trail of Giants. Spoke to Eli Marzulli, the Nephilim. It only takes one of these stories, one of these giants, right, to change the game. And I definitely do think they've been here at some point, dude. I also think there's been a cycle in the past where it was little people as well. Call them elves, call them dwarves, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We've done this so many times, dude. We talk about Atlantis, Lemuria,
Mm-hmm.
and it's cool. But there's so many other cycles that we've forgotten about as well. There's just been no remnant, no crossover of knowledge. Just totally wiped out, gone. Start again. So giants, dinosaurs, little people, everything's in play, dude.
It is because I mean, as far as we were taking a look at some of this history on the show last night, and one of the things that came up was the hidden hand, and it's this where you see the picture of Napoleon and he's got his hand inside his vest, you know what I mean? And then you start seeing it, and you start seeing this hand being inside the vest all over the place, and it turns out that that's actually when you've reached a certain level inside of masonry, you can put your hand in your vest right there. So you're a master, I think it is, of the second veil. I think it is. I can't remember exactly. But right now, anyway, because I'm just bringing it up. But the point is, man, there's been a hidden hand in the development of humanity from day one. And so all they do is they have a mainline storyline, and everybody tells the same story. But they're all in a group, and they're all privy to everything that's happened before. And they just release the technology bit by bit in a way that's going to work for the capitalist system, rather than, they can't have us running around with free energy, this kind of stuff, I mean, obviously, whatever reason, these resets happen all the time. And I just think it's funny, they're all of a sudden, they're calling this other thing the Great Reset all of a sudden. It's the Great Reset. Oh, it's the Great Reset. Well, there's been a bunch of resets. And when it gets reset, who's left? Who knows what about what happened in the past? In other words, if the power went out right now, we were talking about this last night. If the power went out right now, there were no internets anymore. They've gotten rid of most of the libraries now. There's really no books. The only history there would be is what you remembered. And then when you had kids, it'd be what you were able to tell them. They don't know anything. So the thing is if somebody was hiding in a bunker somewhere and they came out with the information, they know what's going to happen. But there is no more countries. But they send over some guy over to discover America. They already know America's there. You know what I mean? They just go over to America. You'll be the guy. What's your name? Columbus? Okay, yeah, you, Columbus. You'll discover America. Go ahead. You know what I mean? All these people are part of that group. That's that group that we all talk about. And it's a group that we were talking about last night. Have you ever heard of this? It's a secret society. Everybody's heard of the Illuminati, right? Well, there's a group below the Illuminati that's called the Palladium. All right? And the group above the Illuminati is called the Nine Unknown Men. And it's a secret society that was started 2,000 years ago in India by King Akashic, I think his name is. And it sounds a lot like the Akashic Records. And so there were 9 of these people. They all had to be superly highly trained in each one of these areas. I think there was 9 areas. I don't have the list in front of me, but it's basically, I think I think it was propaganda, microbiology, cosmology, and some others. And anyways, the point is there was those 9, and then there was replacements for the 9, and then all these people were a part of that group, and they mentioned 2 people, which was Newton and Einstein were both a part of that secret society, which is interesting, because I'm just saying, did Newton figure anything out, or was he just the guy? Hey, Newton, here's all this science. Here you go. You're going to be the guy that puts it all together for us out there, out in public or whatever. But they're sitting back there, and they got it because, and what got me onto this, believe it or not, was the World's Fair. It's what started this whole line of investigation, was because, they start coming with these world fairs, and, every time there's a World's Fair, they're dropping new technology on the world, It's like Tesla, had a big, event with the World's Fair, and, they put all these cables in. And then it starts really interesting because they start tearing them down. They tear everything down afterwards, which was why I started looking at it. There's sort of a mystery around it. And it just made me it made me start wondering even more about it. And then so it starts to tie into if there was such a thing as someone who was really the holder of the knowledge. In other words, all those books in Alexandria and all that stuff, that's all gone or whatever. But there is some place and somebody that does hold the knowledge and the history, the real history. But that we're just given a storyline, and everybody says the same thing, so that's our history. But other than that, and if you go outside that, you don't get the money in the university system, right? If you're not going along with what we're saying is history, then we're not going to give you any money, or you're not going to get tenure, or whatever it is. If you go off the reservation for any reason, whether it be about space or whatever it is, quantum, whatever it is, if you're not in the main line, you don't get the money. So most of those people stay within the framework of the thing because they just want to live their lives and get through their 50 years or whatever it is. And but I'm thinking, I think time has come for us to evolve, not revolve. I don't want to go around one more time. I think the time has come now to raise ourselves up and get beyond this this infatuation with the way that we have things set up here, because I think the reward system's all backwards, man, if you ask me. And I don't think you did.
Couldn't agree more, dude. Couldn't agree more. So listen, we've gone over our half-hour mark. I'm going to play a little bit of music, and then we'll come back on the other side, and we'll wrap this up, dude.
Sounds good, man.
Here we go, folks. It's coming. Stand by. It's on its way. Get ready.
I'm ready. Can't wait.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again, because a vision softly creeping left its scenes while I was sleeping, and the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence. In restless dreams I walked alone, narrow streets of cobblestone, neath the halo of a street lamp. I turned my collar to the cold and damp, when my eyes were stabbed by the flash of a neon light that split the night and touched the sound of silence. And in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, maybe more. People talking without speaking. People hearing without listening. People
Yes, indeed. The sound of silence, Jimmy. There you go. Very, very, very strong rendition of that one there.
Silence is golden. That's what they used to tell me.
What you got planned for the rest of the weekend, Jimmy?
Well, I'm gonna be here all night working on stuff here in the studio, and then tomorrow morning we do a music show, Rio and I, called Wake and Bake on Aftermath here, and so tomorrow morning 8 a.m. Pacific, and we just play a lot of music, talk about music, bring new artists to the table, so on and so forth. It's just fun, you know. It's a chance to get away from the grind of this information, man. You know, it's like, you know, it's you know, look, you know, having to deal with, you know, looking at it every day, because, you know, we're doing shows, you and I, you know, people that doing a presentation 5 days a week, you're gonna have to look at stuff, you know. This is just, you know, there's no way around that. And you know, even if you're good at being able to keep, you know, the onslaught outside of your own self, you know, just be outside of it, you know, it's still like, it still takes something out of you. It's still like taking a body blow, you know. Some of this stuff you have to look at, you know, the hardcore nature of some of it is just beyond description. You know, some of the stuff that you look at, we don't even talk about, just because it's not even, I mean, it's just, there's just so many horrible things going on. So, you know, trying to find different things to look at is you know, trying to find something nice to look at rather than looking at the hardcore stuff is difficult for a lot of people.
Too much nowadays, dude. Too much.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's just an onslaught, a never-ending barrage.
It's meant to be like that. It's meant to make you feel helpless. It's meant to piss you off. It's meant to have these feelings that it stirs up inside us, you know?
Mm-hmm. The emotional control grid. The loosh machine, you know, the constant sucking of emotional energy. By stage-managed productions, you know, by a bunch of, you know, sock puppets doing the bidding of, you know, a small group of people from the back rooms of, you know, the dark, ritualistic magic that's going on. I mean, it's like, it's clear, you know, whoever's in charge of Satan's marketing program is much out. I would say if Jesus and Satan were like Coke and Pepsi, I would say that Pepsi's going to be the choice of a new generation, it seems like. Man, because I just look, you know, I don't know. Seems like there's just a certain vibe that's running through everything, no matter where you look at it. You know, if you're watching TV, you're watching commercials, whatever you're doing, there's this vibe, this thread, this tone, this you know, ever-present looming of evil, man. Just like around the corner. It's just about, the hammer's just about to drop. You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying.
It's just never ending, man. So, you know, I try to get off the treadmill. So that's why, I mean, I enjoy my music. You know, I spend quite a bit of time, you know, when I'm not on the air, I listen to quite a bit of music. Because, you know, it's a way to realign myself, you know, and it depends, you know. I mean, you listen to different kinds of music make you feel a different way, you know. If you got to do some work around the house, maybe.
When did music die, dude? When did it die? I say the 90s.
Yeah, man, I don't know. See, that's a tough one. When did it die? Well, I think...
Or is it just us getting old?
No, I just think that when you take the things around something that it used to take years and years of training and talent to come, you know. In other words, when you can do stuff electronically, you could sit down right now without anybody. You don't have any other musicians in your band, and you could sit down right now and write a song without any other musicians. You could just pull. They already have a bunch of pre-recorded clips and different guitar tones and different. You could just take this stuff, put it on get a drum beat going and drop stuff in there and create a song in like, however long it takes you to do that. So the thing about it is that's not, I mean, when you look back at how songs used to be created, that's not it. It was, one of the guitar players is sitting there having a beer, and then, he's playing, he's noodling around, and then all of a sudden, the drummer comes in the room, he starts topping a beat or whatever, and then all of a sudden the bass player cruises in with a beer in his hand. You know what I mean? The next thing you know, they start going on that riff, and then, But by the time you got to the studio with that, in other words, back then, you had to actually go to the studio to record something. Other than that, it was you were sitting around with, like, cassette players, recording like that.
Yeah, in the bathroom for the good acoustics.
Yeah. And then once you got into the studio, man, now you're talking hundreds and hundreds of dollars per hour for you to go in there. And every single song had to be perfect, because, you're putting it out there. And it was just like an intense, just for one song, the amount of people that were involved in one song being produced and put out on the air and having that thing become a major hit. It was literally unbelievable. And for people to be able to sit down and just do that whole thing that it used to take all those people for, you could just sit down and do it on your computer right now, all by yourself, without being a musician at all, without knowing anything, without ever sitting down with another musician. That's the power of the computer. Don't
let being a musician get in the way of making music, Jimmy.
I know, don't. And don't let, and the thing is too, look, same thing with photography. Same thing with making movies. Same thing with all of these things that it used to take hundreds of people to do. I mean, just doing what you're doing right now. Back in the day, to do this, you'd have to have 5 or 6 people doing it. Yep. There'd be somebody at the radio station. There'd be an engineer. There'd be all this stuff. There'd be a video guy. There'd be a producer saying, go to camera 3, go to camera 2, go to camera 1. But here you are doing it all yourself. You're doing it, everything that all those 5 or 6 people used to do. And you're sitting there in Scotland doing it all by yourself. So this is where technology has brought us. And that's why I'm always optimistic about the future. I'm always tangled up in these dead end conversations about the mark of the beast or whatever. You know what I mean? It's a dead end, man. You're going nowhere with that.
Every generation has thought the mark of the beast is around the corner.
What I'm just saying, the thing is, it's a dead end because there's nowhere to go from there. And the thing is how do we not move into the future? So the thing is, it's the problem is that we're not in control of the dialogue, so that we don't get to have discussions pertaining to the technology of today and moving into the future. We have fools up in Congress and the Senate. They're arguing about stuff that has nothing to do with what we're talking about right now. But what we're talking about right now is the most important shit on the table, because we're already at a point where the behavior modification complex can make you think whatever they want.
Big time. Yeah.
We're there. So what that says is the boundaries and sanctity of your own skull is no longer yours. You're not free anymore inside of your own mind. That was the last place. Look, if you got put in prison for doing something and you're in solitary confinement, the one thing they could never take away from you is the inside of your head. You could be sitting in a dark room in a corner all by yourself, shivering with your eyes closed, and be thinking about sitting on a tropical island. But now it's to the point where they're going to, hey, man, tell you what kind of food to buy, what, how to feel about whatever. You never know. At this point, you can never actually know if it's your own thought or not. And our cognitive liberty has been stolen. And it's the biggest heist in the history of mankind, because nobody even knows what cognitive liberty even is. So how is it even on the table for dialogue or discussion, even of any place where it matters at all?
I don't care, but the next time we get together, you're going to have to educate me on the 9 unknown men.
Well, I will because I come on with you every Wednesday, and that's the day where we go down in the memory hole. So
I like it. I'm liking the sound of that one, man.
yeah, man, it's a good one, really. So we got the holidays coming up, man. Christmas is gonna be here soon. What, next week?
What you got? Yeah, well, I won't be here next week, I don't think.
No, but I mean next week is Christmas, right? It's 25th on Saturday.
Yep. Santa Claus, Satan Claus, whatever you want to look at it. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
You all set for it, man?
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, there's not really much going on at my house. You know, there's just me and my ma. So that's pretty simple. And, you know, there's the rest of the family's not going to be coming up here. You know, so not going to be any, weird political interactions or anything like that. I'm going to be on the air probably both days. Christmas Eve.
No family shenanigans planned?
No.
We're going up to Anne's dad's.
Oh, nice.
All the sisters will be there. All the nieces and nephews will be crazy, dude.
Sweet.
Yep.
Well, whatever you believe in, it's always just good to just take a day and.
It's for the young ones, man.
Yeah. I mean, people just get all bent out of shape or whatever. It's like, hey, man, just take that one day and just, it's the spirit of giving. It's not a matter of, it doesn't have anything to do with buying gifts.
Like Christmas, go and do something you do enjoy doing.
Yeah. But giving doesn't mean you have to buy gifts, It just means that you give, whatever that is, whatever you have to give, if you got something to give, you give, And then the hardest part, honestly, is to receive, man. You know what I mean?
Time.
To give is easy, but to be able to receive is another thing. To accept the
Very
gift.
humbling indeed.
Yeah, to be able to accept a gift from someone, it's for a lot of people that's very hard to do. That they almost can't stand it.
I'm glad I'm not working with one of these secret Santa things and all that crap going on. No time for that, dude. No time for that.
When you think about it, man, this holiday has been milked for so much money over so many years that it turned into this thing where it really gotten so far away from what the original thing was even about in the first place, that it's just like a bunch of, blinking Christmas lights,
Is this just where we're going to come every Saturday and moan about the world?
Am I moaning?
No, I am. I don't know about you. I know I have.
Nah, I mean, hey, listen, I gotta be honest, man. I as far as Christmas is concerned, I really don't have any emotional investment in it at all. I don't care about it.
You're kind of guy.
I hate it. I really don't like Christmas at all. But I mean, I do. I go through the motions. It's not. It's the thing is even if you don't like it, but you go through the motions of it. I mean, at least that's something, hanging lights and all this, putting up a tree, going through all that. I mean, that's what you do, you keep doing it, I don't know. I mean, if it's up to me, I mean, when I personally, I like the idea of getting a tree, but you get like a live tree. And then you buy just this like a small live tree and you bring that in.
Have you ever stood on those needles? They're bad. But they're bad when you get like one of those pine needles in the foot. No, not good.
Well, see, you get a small tree like this, right? Say you got a family, young family or whatever. Hey, what's up, King Sweet? Hey, so you get you got a young family or whatever, and you got your Christmases and you're doing your thing. So you buy like a live tree every year, right? And then you take it someplace and you plant it. All right? And then every year you do the same thing and you keep taking a tree and planting it, taking a tree and planting it. By the end of your life, you'll have a whole little forest over there that you guys planted. You can go over there, you kick it, and remember each other. Remember the Christmases gone by, man. You know what I mean? That's the way to go, man.
Jimmy. I like it. So, Jimmy, tell people when they can catch Into the Microcosm.
Hey, 10:30 Pacific, right here at Aftermath FM, right after Claude Lewis and Ground Zero. And don't forget tomorrow, Wake and Bake, where it's nothing but positivity, man. And it's where you come down and forget about it. We talk about, like I say, there's no negativity on there at all.
I think we'll try and get Doc McCairn to hang out with us next week on here. Well, maybe not next week, the week after.
Yeah, that'd be good. He was trying to get on here, and I just told him, there was only a few minutes left to just hang tough, and we'll get him the next time.
Tell him I was too busy watching him for hours today. And I'm all tired. I'll need to get to my
You're all
bed.
tired out.
Yeah.
You're tuckered out.
Yeah.
You're all tuckered out. Yeah, me too. I am ready to get something to eat. I think I'm gonna have a nice greasy cheeseburger with extra cheese.
Ooh, sounds good.
Yeah, man.
Funnily enough, I actually had a cheeseburger earlier. Now
Did
that I
you
think
really?
about it, yeah.
It's nothing better than a good cheeseburger.
I can guarantee you the California cheeseburger is probably more appealing than the one you get in the East End of Glasgow.
Well, let me just tell you, man, if you ever had one of my burgers, you'd always want to have another one, my friend, because I make burgers like they used to be made, with fat coming out of them. When you take a bite, it's just
Fried a man corn?
No man corn, man. Straight.
man corn, good.
No
Good.
man corn for me. But I hear it tastes like pork.
Laughing the other night when I was talking. I was saying that Jimmy, he talks about the man corn.
Tastes like pork. That's what they say. That's what I've heard.
Folks, thank you all for tuning in today. You're listening to Aftermath FM. Don't go anywhere. More live radio on the way. I'll be back maybe next week, but definitely the week after. So I'll have Jimmy with me. We'll have the doc. And as we do here on the way out, we'll play some good old Scottish music. Caledonia. We're out of here.
I don't know if you can see the changes that have come over me in these last few days. I've been afraid that I might drift away. So I've been telling old stories, singing songs, make me think about where I came from. That's the reasons why I seem so far away today. Oh, and let me tell you that I love you, that I think about you all the time. Caledonia, you're calling me, now I'm going home. But if I should become a stranger, you know that it would make me more than sad. Caledonia's been everything I've ever had. Oh, and I have moved, I've kept on moving. I've proved the points that I needed proving. Lost the friends that